They're coming to get you, Barbara.
The Fear Central Radio Show. Warning, our content may include spoilers and is intended for mature audiences.
Hey, fellow horror fans, welcome to the Fear Central Radio Show. I am your host, Mike, and we're going to go around the table here.
Chris, Heather, Katie,
Paul.
All right, and this week we are, now it's getting closer to Halloween, and this is last week of September, so October's coming up really, really fast. Did some decorating today, getting ready for our party that we'll talk about more and more as we get closer to said party.
Pulled out the bloody eyeballs and the lights and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're about 3%.
Yeah, about 3% decorated right now. So
2 hours, 3%.
Yeah, 2
One
hours.
of 256,000 boxes.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly.
So we figured that this month we will, or moving closer to Halloween, we'll progressively get into more and more Halloween stuff.
Like what?
Like this week, we are going to be talking about movies that inspire us for Halloween. That get us prepped for it, get us ready. Next week will be a great show for Katie because we're going to dive into the history of Halloween.
Fun stuff.
So we'll figure out some traditions and history.
That's
about
my ball game, man.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
what I do.
That's what she do. She doed it.
Yep.
We'll just let that lie there.
Yeah, we'll let that duty lie. So we're going to get into movies that we feel prep us for Halloween. I know everybody, as Paul has and I have talked about, and several of us beforehand, everybody probably has a different meaning of what that means to have a set of movies that we always use to get ready for Halloween.
Yeah, and really, I mean, this isn't going to be a one-to-one thing because, like, everybody, it seems like there's almost a universal thing of, oh, it's Christmas, let's watch Christmas movies. But you're not ever always going to reach out and find people who say, oh, it's Halloween, got to watch my Halloween movies.
Yeah.
So it's important to know. It's important to know what that means to different people.
Yeah. So there is a separation between Halloween themed movies, I'll say, and just movies we normally watch all the time, but seem to like them even more during Halloween.
Right.
So,
yeah, we'll start with Katie on this one.
Poor Katie, she's getting picked on.
Yeah, it happens a lot. But, okay, so for Halloween, since this is rather new for me, as is horror in general, for me, it's mostly been family-type movies. And,
we're
family
going to have a variety on our
Halloween-esque
list.
movies. Because somehow those got through. I don't know how, but those
Are we
slipped
talking
through.
like Halloween Town? Or?
I mean, those were part of them, but those aren't the ones that are on the list.
yeah,
for this
she's got
year.
her own set list.
What was
Yeah.
it? Okay, I got to hear your list.
But, okay, so my criteria is... We'll get to the list. But, so my criteria really... In order to be a Halloween movie, the overall theme of the movie, setting, all of that, has to have a certain leaves in the air, cool wind through the... cool breeze through the trees feel.
Unless you live in Texas.
Well, I like to think about it that way anyways.
The trees still shed.
Yeah,
They do.
Yeah,
they
but
just...
They don't turn all
And
the pretty
pumpkin spice
colors.
No, they
flows.
go green to brown.
Yes,
And they're
there's
on the
not a
ground.
whole
But
lot
there's
of
no
that.
pretty oranges and reds. And,
no.
There are for like 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
Really
a 3-day
3
fall.
days.
I mean, if you drive through the hill country, the leaves do change.
little bit.
A little bit,
For
yeah.
no
A little
more than a
bit,
week,
but
though.
yeah.
No more than a week.
We don't have the pretty New England fall.
No.
colors.
No.
That's on my bucket list to see it. Yes.
Yeah.
How with all the New Yorkers?
No,
sweetheart.
no.
Maine.
No.
No.
Hey, you mean?
Maine,
Connecticut, New
Connecticut,
Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Well, I was
yeah.
thinking over there
you
in
know.
Baston.
So they got to go get some chowder.
Yep.
Baston.
I love that episode. I love that episode of Family Guy. The Leafers.
The leafers.
All the New York City people that come in to watch. Oh, look at all those freaking trees.
It's a freaking leaf.
Yes.
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 Okay. List.
Okay.
So it sounds like your movies have to be seasoned.
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
have to have a season with the additional element of it doesn't have to be like super scary, but either material
family
that is
movie. Come on, it can't be
associated.
super
It's
scary.
not always. I picked several non-family movies this time because
Yeah.
I know things sort of.
She knows things sort of.
So to preface, whenever we get to our list, we will say that this list is not the same one we have every year.
No, it changes every.
We-
There are a couple of standards,
A couple of standards.
but mostly this changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we actually plot out a list of how movies to watch for Halloween every year. We've done that
first-
since we got together.
Yeah, so our first time we did this, we actually planned 20 movies. But no, it was 25. It was 25.
So almost one a day.
Yes.
Yeah. But we didn't think about the fact that, we both work and we have things we're doing.
And then if you're
So-
watching a movie every single night, you get
you
to
start
one,
to go crazy a little bit.
one, and you're just like, all right, no.
Yeah. So we learned really quickly that we had to scale back our number. And so this year we're trying 15 for the entire month of October.
And we'll make it past 12.
And I'll tell you right now, if you're plotting a list like this, I've learned from the past few years, don't schedule any movie that is really insanely long.
Nope, these are all short.
Because that will be that'll get to be one of the last ones to cross off, and you just finally go, okay, that one's 2.5 hours. We're not watching that one.
A Cure for Wellness?
Never again.
Shining actually went unwatched one year.
Yeah,
Oh,
our
really?
Lord. Yep. And
This
we
is
both
kinda
really,
long.
really love that movie. So.
Yeah, but if you're like me, you watch like 7 horror movies a day.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, that's the thing. It's like we'll have
Binge.
days where because we don't watch movies unless they're together. He will, but it's stuff I don't want to watch.
Right.
Sinister.
So yeah. So
He's just like, sir.
yes. So like
You gotta have your drinking buddy night movies.
well, and those are normally non-list movies as
See,
well.
I tried
because
to
we
have a girl watch a movie and everybody bailed on me.
Sorry, I was
If we're watching
sick.
something like the Canadian horror movie, I'm not coming.
Hey?
No.
No.
Suck, eh? That it did.
Yes. I couldn't remember the name of it, but now that you said suck,
Yeah.
that's the name.
I
couldn't
told
find
you
the
that movie was
soundtrack.
aptly named.
Yes, it was.
All right, so
All right.
There's one way to end that argument. Snow shark.
I didn't pick that one.
it randomly showed up.
Yeah.
It's
It
just
was
like
not a pick.
let's go do. Oh, snow shark.
The suggestion thing.
Yes.
You should watch this next.
Yes. And so we did for about
You
5
should
minutes.
see our Amazon queue. His dad does that. Like watches whatever's next.
It's a randomized thing. Like I think he's watched all of Amazon Prime,
Pretty much.
All of it.
all of it.
Yeah.
Because he leaves it going. If he's home, he leaves it going with no discrimination
Right.
whatsoever.
Just whatever the next movie is that pops up, that comes up.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So there's
That could be fun.
Our watch again list is really scary.
Just like, okay, sure, Diary of a Nudist. Okay,
Yeah.
and then
one
it's
was-
followed right by a family
like,
film.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then like 4 down the line is Girls on Girls, and then like,
right.
yeah,
There's
it's
a lot of
Go
softcore
Dad.
porn on
a
Amazon Prime.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah. So
All right, so little
He's
girl
probably
on
like,
girl.
oh.
Oh, look, Lassie. No.
right.
That isn't actually the watch again. That's the suggestions, but
Yeah.
still,
Because you watch Girl on Girl.
Well, adding on what Katie said, for me, Halloween has to. I agree with what she was saying about the kind of the fall feel, but atmosphere is big. I think it has to be a really atmospheric horror movie to be on my Halloween list. Like one that has a very like a very unusual setting, or one that you can kind of just get sucked into.
You have to mention We're gonna
We're gonna get there.
Chris, calm
We're
down,
building
girl, calm
suspense.
down.
Like
She's
Stephen
excited
King.
because there's actually a piece
We're-
of paper with the entire list written down. She just can't read
Shit.
it.
It's in the box.
It's like Christmas for her over
I'm
there.
gonna have to go watch the closed caption on this show.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
It's like, the box on the table. Don't open the box. What's in the box? Well, I can't open it.
It's in the fucking
Can I
box.
poke it?
What's in the fucking
If I shake it, will it rattle it?
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box? I watched that movie last night.
Okay.
Are you your criteria for Halloween?
I'm one of the ones that don't really have too much of a criteria
Bullshit.
because I'm like you. I watch like several a day, so
Yeah.
it's
He
just
does have criteria for horror movies.
well, yeah, but not for Halloween.
Halloween.
It doesn't have to be like a movie set around Halloween. It doesn't have to be set in space.
It's just it has to have a lot of bodies. It has to have a lot of fantabulous kills.
I love the epic kills. Gotta have the epic kills.
And it has to have a believable plot line.
But I do have some staples. I mean, they're like some of the old school ones. I really get into. I mean,
Okay.
you of course have to have the movie named after the holiday,
Right.
except for number 3.
We don't know what the fuck happened there. Somebody took some acid.
No, they were trying
But
to
that
make
is
it a trilogy.
so
instead of
tied
a
to the holiday.
franchise.
Yeah,
The plot of that is all
Yes.
about the holiday.
I think you have to have your staples though. You have to have, like your Lost Boys. You have to have your Halloween, your Friday 13th, your
Hellraiser.
Hellraisers.
Well, and for me, it takes me back to what I watched when I was growing up. The ones that always scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The ones that I watched with my dad, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch Annabelle with my dad. That was
Amityville.
oh no.
She actually didn't watch that.
No, I have. I've seen all of them.
Well, no, you
no,
did,
no,
but
no.
you just recently watched those, right?
Amityville?
No, she's watched
no.
them.
No, it's-
I watched them when I was young, and then I tried to rewatch them like I did it because they scared me then. I still can't do it.
Yeah, because the first film that came out was 79. So
It was
Okay, so
scary.
what about
He had a
it
mortgage.
scares you?
I know.
I know, right?
He had a
Couldn't have
mortgage.
done. I don't know.
And then there was Jody.
Maybe because you can't see it. I think that's what gets me is the things that you can't see.
Yeah.
So does Blair Witch bad for you?
No, Blair Witch was just. I had to take a Dramamine.
As well as shaking of the camera.
The snot,
Yeah.
just.
I don't know. The ending of that movie has always been kind of unnerving.
I always thought the
little
guy was
bit
taking a
is.
leak. It's like, why is that dude pissing in the corner? All right. What about you, honey?
What?
Movies that get you ready for Halloween.
Your
Oh,
criteria.
I
What kind of
totally
criteria?
agree
Not
here.
the list, but the criteria of said movies.
There are certain movies that I've watched since I was just a wee one, and I've continued to watch them every year since I've gotten older. And
Okay.
So they're a take you back. They're like nowadays. These are
Well-
the ones you watch
Easter Bunny Kill Kill?
because you
Hold it.
started watching them when you were young.
I watched them when I was young. It continued through my adulthood, and even when I hit teens, when I started hitting the teenage years, of course, you start watching more and more horror movies. Those are the ones I continue to watch.
Okay.
And it's like it's almost like people with Miracle on
Alzheimer's?
34th
No.
Street or
That's how I feel right now.
It's a Wonderful Life. They have to watch those every year during.
Not
it.
me. I don't like Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah,
A Christmas
if you
movie?
don't
I can
watch
do
it,
without
you
that
think
A Christmas
one.
Story?
It's not your holiday kind of thing.
A Christmas
All right.
Story?
No, I have to watch that.
Exactly.
24 hours a
She
day.
has to watch that.
I watch the 24-hour marathon.
Shoot
It's
your
on.
eye out.
It's on.
So
Yeah.
he's continuously
Shooting his eye out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Awesome.
pretty much.
okay.
Well,
see
she
that
throws
now.
in Christmas Vacation through there too.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah, that's
her
another one.
favorite movie.
No, I watched that before Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
On Christmas Eve at 6 o'clock, they start showing
It's a Wonderful Life.
a Christmas
Christmas
story.
Story.
And they replay it for 24 full hours.
Why?
And then you gotta
Why not?
back to back it with Black Christmas since it's the same director.
Totally got to do that.
It's got the same tone, message, basically.
I know we did try that though last year before, where each holiday, we were picking a set of films to watch.
We did try that, and it was hard because there are not a lot of Arbor Day horror films.
Yeah,
No.
we couldn't find Treevenge. No, that was Christmas.
That was Christmas.
That's true.
Treevenge was Christmas.
But we couldn't find a lot of Arbor Day. We did find one that was based on what it was like.
President's Day or Labor Day.
Yeah.
That was weird.
What, the unions got them?
I don't know.
All right. Well, continuing on from what Chris said, you said the ones that you've grown up with that you go through every year. That seems like as good a leeway to actually start naming titles.
Okay.
So, what would be some examples of that?
Nah, I want to know what's on your list.
Well-
From when you're a child.
Well, we're not going to say it all at once. I was going to say because we've got
We'll mention
those on here.
as we go.
So starting as we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Great
always,
Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Great Pumpkin.
Gotta have that one.
Oh, I love that one.
Gotta have the great pumpkin, Charlie Brown. That started off. That was
With
the
a
very
weird
first one.
semi-Christian, semi-pagan ending
Yeah,
moral
yes,
message
little
on
bit,
it.
Yeah.
But we always started with that, and then there was, like the, oh Lord,
Rocky Horror Picture Show was always one.
From what age?
I did not watch that when I was a child.
I was actually 10, and my mom allowed me to go to my very first showing in San Francisco. And
Wow.
she dressed up as Magenta, and I dressed up as a maid. I didn't have a wig, but I dressed up in a
Right.
maid's outfit.
Okay.
And it was just our thing. I begged and begged. And of course, she allowed me to go do it, and ever since then, I have to watch it. And before, I've already watched it twice. And it just every year I watch it. That, and I always have to watch Nightmare Before Christmas and Paranorman, and I have to watch Corpse Bride, and then of course the Hellraiser series and
Okay.
Friday 13th. So
And all of those are sort of nostalgic. Paranorman's pretty recent. Paranorman's on this list.
yes,
Yes.
the Paranorman was when it came out.
It's nostalgic to our children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we took them to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That one is amazing for the simple fact that it's a family film that has so much homage to adult horror
Yeah.
in it.
Oh, yeah.
Like it starts off with that cheesy zombie thing.
I love it.
We got the 3D copy. I love the 3D pop out you get in that
Yes.
particular moment with the zombie reaching
Right.
through the door and
Yes.
everything.
But Nightmare Before Christmas, I saw it when I was a teenager in the movie theaters, and it's just
Is it that old?
Huh?
I didn't think they came out that long
In the
ago.
90s, 92.
I'm a teenager in the
93,
90s.
something like that.
I mean, I knew about it my whole life. I never got to watch it until after I was graduated. But
Yeah, you
I
didn't get to
loved
really
it.
watch much as you were growing up.
No,
Here she's
nope,
10
nope,
years
nope.
old going to Rocky
93.
Horror.
All right. Yeah.
There are a couple on this list that you got to watch
I
growing
did.
up.
I don't know
But-
how certain things got through the cracks, but they did.
Yeah, but
Number
you know what?
one did.
I didn't really understand Rocky Horror until I got older.
Right.
I just thought it was, oh, hey, everybody's dressing up and going to this cool movie.
Oh,
and
kind
I
of
don't
like Paul
understand
with
it,
the
but I
teddy
love
bear in The
songs.
Shining.
Yeah.
My
It's actually
parents,
very similar to that with Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
my parents actually went to a shadow cast of Rocky Horror whenever they were dating. But this is prior to conversion.
Maybe
So-
that was the key point to make the conversion.
Mouth is like on the floor. They didn't go
Should
dress
see Paul's
up.
face
they just
right now.
went to watch the spectacle. Yeah. But my mom, she would mention that was a really fun experience for her.
It was.
And
very fun.
she really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And
and-
I think because the first time we ever heard about Rocky Horror was whenever we played the Time Warp as one of our staples in the stands for marching band. And my mom was like, "Do you even know what that's from?" And then went into explanation, and then that's whenever I got, "It's a horrible thing. You should never watch." Da 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 da.
But I had a
I
great
always
time
thought
with
it
it
was-
once.
yes,
I always
Yeah.
thought it was an amazing thing, and I always said that if I ever had kids, I wanted to have them dress up and go to it. Unfortunately, they don't play it around here unless this one is
Right.
in Dallas, so my kids have never gotten to experience.
Right.
But I have put on our own home version of it, and of course, you know, you're like waiting to see if your kids are gonna like the same thing you like, and I'm like, please like it, and they're like, Mom, this is so stupid. And I'm like,
Yeah.
So, one of my friends that I've always respected for how open he is and everything, he was part of that Shadowcast group that did that. Amber Does Dallas was the name of the group because they did Repo the Genetic Opera and Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Didn't they also do Devil's Cardinal?
Sorry.
Eventually. It didn't start that way.
you're missing out on the bug eyes.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Are you doing a Beetlejuice reference?
Well, it started
Dude,
way
what's in
before
your Big
Beetlejuice.
Red?
but-
I think we should switch. I'm drinking Kool-Aid, and that's not quite
Beetlejuice
right.
referenced that from another movie.
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The
Well,
Fly.
The Fly.
Fly.
With
The
Vincent
Fly
Price.
was a fly.
With Vincent Price.
Okay.
You
Older
haven't
one.
seen that movie.
No.
Vincent Price.
Heather's all, I love this mic.
I do.
We
I love
have
it
to do
tonight.
a girls' night, so fly.
I love it so much. I'm going to pet it.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So, my friend...
I'm just saying.
Sorry,
Check,
Paul. We
check.
didn't mean to interrupt your meaningful conversation there.
Best butt in the world.
Did you get into my medication?
Nice.
Okay, you were saying, Paul.
I forgot.
You forgot
We got
what?
hooked
What we
on
were
Jeff
saying.
Goldblum's butt.
Oh, we were
that's
talking
on-
about
that's on
your
top-
shock about.
That's on topic because I found out my friend was playing Brad Majors and he was like, "You need to come and see." And I'm like, "I don't know if I want to watch you in a bustier, buddy."
Oh well, see, I was actually I was actually fortunate because I am a sizable man, so therefore the role they got placed for me was Eddie,
Okay.
and they were like, "You can play Eddie." I was like, "Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
There you
I
go.
get to
Yeah.
play Meatloaf." All right.
Nice.
Awesome.
You could be Dr. Scott and just put some garter hose
Yeah,
on. And
yeah. I'd have been okay with that one.
I did dress up one year as Frankenfurter,
Okay.
and then got taken down by a drag queen who was better looking. Just saying. Drag
Yeah.
king was like, "Oh no, honey, somebody's got to go home and change." I'm like, "Well, bitch, you better go first because my house is a long way from here." But yeah,
So yeah, okay. So, what are said family movies that made it
On
prior
list.
to breaking out into the horror genre?
Okay.
They got snuck in.
snuck in. So I'm gonna go with the ones that I was allowed to watch.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay, because there is one on here that I was not allowed to watch, but I watched it anyways, and it was my
You
very,
bad
very
girl.
favorite. Okay, so one of the first ones that snuck through was Casper.
Casper.
Ghost.
I love Casper.
Yeah. It's interesting how we got it because it was my grandmother and grandfather had partial ownership of a video store in my hometown. And so whenever there were like extra like movies that they were trying to get rid of, we often got them, and this was one of those. And Mom and Dad had a really hard time whether they were going to let us watch it or if they were going to take it home. And then my sister threw a fit because she liked blue, and the outside of the VHS was blue. So we watched it, and it was something we watched almost on repeat sometimes. We would go through a week or two.
All kids do that.
We
And
watch
that's
it
when
back.
it started.
Yeah.
The psychosis.
You'll learn that once you have kids.
Really?
You will be like, what about this? No, play it again. What about this one? No, play it again.
And you'll
Yeah.
get to the end, and you're like, "Okay, that's it. We've watched it 4 times. It's bedtime. Mom's tired." And they're like, "Again."
That's
So
why
is
my
it-
child has a
Is
has
it
a DVD
morally
player in his room.
objectionable to lie and just say that, "Oh no, it'll break if we
We've
watch
said
it more
that.
than once"?
No,
yeah.
If you
not,
do that,
not
it'll
a
break
problem
the
at all.
TV.
Yeah, my parents told us that if we watch something more than, I don't remember how many times, but she'd be like, but if you watch it after X many times, then the VCR just won't play it anymore. And so, I mean, if you want to ever watch it again, then we have to put it up.
So we lie and we'd say, "Oh no, if we play it again, the VCR's going to eat it."
Yeah, now we got DVDs. That doesn't really work.
Yeah, we
You
had
can
DVD
still
player in the
say
living
it.
room, but
It'll only play it back so many times.
Yeah.
if
Oh,
we
no.
watch it
Probably
again,
a
it's going
lie
to play
I
it
will
backwards.
tell.
Oh no, that if you're watching a movie, it better be in your own damn room. I will tell you that my child, he got hooked on Frosty the Snowman when he was about 18 months old, and I swear we have seen that movie. I would be willing to bet 15,000 times.
Yeah, Mulan, the
And
Aristocats.
no,
gosh,
Charlie's
so
was
much
all
Aristocats.
Charlie's was all Christmas movies. Rudolph and Rudolph's Shiny New Year and
Yeah, but
So
Heather,
throughout
know.
the entire
Heather?
year, you had Christmas movies
Yes.
coming?
hold up.
well, I mean, and for me, I love Christmas, so and
Yeah,
I don't
there you
mind, and
go.
I'll watch Christmas movies all the time. But there's only so much Rudolph and Frosty you
Oh,
can
I
watch.
agree.
Now,
Says
hold on,
the
hold on,
woman
hold on.
whose house looks like Christmas.
Yeah, but
grew
it's different.
up
I
in
don't
it.
watch those on repeat.
No, honey, but
Didn't
you
we
sing them
find
throughout
a
the year.
horror movie with the guy that voiced Frosty?
Yes,
Yes.
And
we
it
did.
changed it forever. Where
It
was
did.
Like,
I can't watch it now because I've seen said movie, Microwave Massacre. Watch Frosty and then watch Microwave Massacre, people. It'll never be the same. Don't do it in
Fine.
reverse, though.
No,
Don't do it in
no.
reverse.
Okay.
Question
Okay.
is, can y'all get all the way through Microwave Massacre? I did.
Oh,
Took
well,
some.
if you can, we can.
Challenges you.
It was
But
a
at
challenge.
least I made it all the way through Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I still haven't made it past the
I
nurse.
didn't watch the second one.
Yeah. So
Okay, so Casper.
I love
Casper's the
Casper.
first one.
Sorry,
Okay.
Casper was amazing.
Another one that we never owned, but we saw on TV a lot, was Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, saw it in the
We
theater.
rented it a lot too. We really loved it.
we had a copy. We had a one copied from ABC Night at the Movies or whatever when I was a kid, and that was my only copy I had. So I never knew about Dan Aykroyd's pants getting unbuckled until I got it on DVD. I was like, that was interesting.
You have a whole array of movies where those scenes like that come up, and you're just like,
There's a lot of fellatio in classic movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really is.
Yep.
Yeah, but so Ghostbusters is always tied to commercials for like a Austin car company and Princess Bride TV ads, because that was sort of like the in between ad breaks when I was watching
Yeah,
it.
Shaylin just
Okay.
got to see it last year, and now she's completely hooked on Ghostbusters.
Yep.
She loves Ghostbusters.
yep.
Solid movie. I mean, it's a movie I actually didn't hate the one that came out last year.
I didn't either.
I have not seen it.
Is I
I liked it.
It had moments. The one thing I'll say is it misunderstood what Ghostbusters was.
yes.
Yeah.
Because it was not a comedy first. Dan
Nope.
Aykroyd firmly believes in the occult and the
Yes.
paranormal.
Yes.
And he wrote it that way, and then jokes were inserted, and they were mostly based off of character moments in
Yeah.
Right.
between
Right.
them, in between them.
And this
It's a little
was a
ad-lib.
comedy movie. Like, it really was. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comedy first above anything else.
Yeah.
That's the reason Ghostbusters works very
I think
well
a
for
lot
Halloween.
of the
Right.
reason it let people down was because people built up this big, huge expectation of what it was going
yeah.
to be, instead of
Well,
thinking.
a lot of
about
that was the
what
studio's
it's
fault, starting their trailer for it with 30 years ago.
like. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see it. The boys went and saw it in the theater, but I was in Chicago, so
I mean, don't get me wrong; it had some funny moments.
yeah.
But it just wasn't. It's kind of like how I feel about certain remakes. Like the Friday the 13th remake did not feel like a Friday the 13th film. It just had a whole different, I guess, atmosphere would be the best word for it, because it didn't have that I'm in Crystal Lake feel.
Right.
I liked that it gave it a complete plot arc. In the only thing I'll say for the remake is I like that it had almost a bigger plot going with it, because it was the first two movies combined.
Right.
True.
That was interesting. I liked that, but yeah.
Okay, so what else? What's next?
What else?
Okay, so the Addams Family.
Yes, always got to have the Addams Family.
I can't do
Reason
the
you're
movies.
skipping Hocus Pocus?
Yes.
That's the one that I watched when I wasn't supposed to. So we're gonna do the ones that I was allowed to watch, and then the illicit ones.
Love
Listens.
Sorry, I can't do the Adam Sandler movies.
Really?
The series, yes, but because I grew up on the series. Once they changed it and Thing could come out of his box and walk around the table, I was like, "Fuck you! No, he doesn't do that."
It's special effects. They
No,
have the.
there was just those
If
arcs.
they were able to do that in the '60s, they probably would have done
done
that.
it.
Then I would have been okay with it. But now, I can't be okay with it because he
every
didn't.
time that's
You
one
know?
of my go-to movies. So anytime I'm having a bad day, I'll watch
Yeah.
that one, and he'll be like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Adam's Family." He's like,
Nope.
"I'll be in
Nope.
the other room."
But the only thing that translated well between the two movies was Cousin Ed,
Yeah.
or between the series and the movies.
I
I didn't like. I love Christopher Lloyd. Did not like him as Uncle Fester.
okay. I mean, I can understand why someone would say that. Raul Julia as Gomez, though. Come on.
He was
Yeah,
awesome.
he nailed it.
But he wasn't.
He's not John Astin.
Yeah.
Fine.
No, but he still nailed that part.
Oh yeah.
No,
Yes.
It's-
Oh, yes, he did.
no, not so much. Anyway, moving on.
And you had Christina Ricci,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, better in Casper.
I watched both of them. Actually, I watched a lot of these in the theater. The ones that she grew up on.
Yeah.
Adam's Family was still on at a time when movies were sticking around at the theaters for months.
Yeah.
I saw Adam's Family 4 times at the theater.
Yeah, that was also during that time period where everything that was on TV was now going to be a movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you had
Where today is-
Flintstones and stuff was
Yeah.
very shortly after that.
Yep.
Right.
Beverly Hillbillies.
Mm-hmm. And then now it's whatever was a movie then is a movie again, but we're going to change it. So, okay, so was that the three?
Those are the three
That you were allowed?
I was only allowed 2 of those.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 of those.
3 of those.
Casper, Ghostbusters, and Adam's Family.
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus was my illicit one.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Snuck in.
yeah. And then the only other family movie that is on the list is Paranorman. Because we both feel like that really embodies,
Well, I mean,
the feeling of Halloween. You know?
I mean, it's that one. I mean, that one's pretty obvious, though. It's set at Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monster House is also a really good selection.
That's a good
My
one.
child loves that
I
movie.
love it.
Always have. We have gone through 4 copies of Monster House.
I love
We
Monster
own
House.
it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Good.
No, I didn't say it was bad. I'm just saying that was another one that we watched
A
Over
lot.
and over,
over
and over.
and over and over. I'm pretty sure I can quote the whole damn movie from start to finish.
Yeah.
Has a very annoying opening.
It does.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
I told you.
You know that one.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh.
Okay, so dealing with movies that are definitely Halloween, and I'm betting on everybody's list.
Okay.
We watch Halloween every year.
Right.
Obviously, you already mentioned it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a great tone. Like, there's so many little character moments that feel right for the holiday because they have them watching scary movies on the TV. They're making popcorn balls.
Yeah.
Carving
all
pumpkins.
all that type of stuff.
You got the colored leaves blowing through the street.
Yes.
That's cool.
great setting, great atmosphere.
Yeah.
And Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat.
is a new one.
Love trick or treat.
Sam's my guy. He's on my card.
What do you? All right. So since it's an anthology movie, what would you say is the best story from it?
I love the school bus.
That's my pick.
That's my favorite one. And I love it when Sam goes after the bitch of a wife.
In the beginning.
Yes, because this
The
poor
one
guy's
from-
done
the
all
woman
this
from
much
Hell
to
Baby.
decorate everything for the house, outside for the kids, and he goes through all this trouble, and his wife is just a bitch, and it's just like, oh, this crap needs to come down. It's stupid. I love it, and I just was like, the second I saw Sam, I was like, oh my god, he's so cute. I want to just put him on, a shelf and just keep him there.
Did you think that after he took the bag off?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
Are we doing that one for you too,
I
Heather?
was like, oh my
We can do the under the bag scene.
We should.
And it was so
Totally.
funny because we went to Texas Frightmare and there was a boy that dressed up
That should be my costume
as
for Frightmare.
Sam, and he had the complete little plastic lollipop that he
The
he
jagged
used at.
lollipop.
Yeah, with the bite taken out, and it looked like a pumpkin on it. made the whole costume, and I was just like in awe. So I took a picture of it, and behind him is Michael Myers and
Photobombing.
Freddy Krueger, and they're photobombing Sam. And so that's actually on my debit card. So I get the weirdest comments. They're like, "Oh, you have what is that?" And I'm like, it's Sam." "Oh my god, do you love horror movies?" I'm like, "Honey, I make the movies. I make the evil things."
All right, Heather, since you're wanting to be Sam this year,
Yes.
what's your favorite part? What's your
The school bus.
the school bus?
School bus.
No.
See, I'm kind of torn between that one and the whole werewolf scene, because you're like, whoa, hey, wait a minute, they're the werewolves.
Yeah.
That one actually is one that can catch you and be like, okay, I didn't expect that.
Right?
Yeah. Not the world's biggest Anna Paquin fan, but
No.
she worked well in that
Yeah.
one.
Right.
Yeah.
I think she did just as well as she does in True Blood.
Better.
Probably,
There's
yeah.
less of her in that.
I really
With you,
didn't
Paul.
like.
With
I
you,
really
Paul.
didn't like the principal or school teacher or whatever guy.
I like that actor.
I like the actor.
But the problem is this is cringy in a whole non-horror way, but he was in a movie called Happiness, where he played a pedophile that kept having father-son chats throughout the entire movie, and whenever his first scene in Trick or Treat, whenever it was like father-son moments, I'm just sitting there like getting flashbacks. I'm like, no.
But yeah, that's what, those two definitely are one of the ones that you think Halloween.
Right.
You got the cool wind. You got the the leaves changing.
Yeah.
And
There's one that we always watch that is not Halloween in the least, and that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
yeah.
Because that's summertime.
That is
summertime.
That is a very
summertime.
summertime, sweltering hot. But we all watch it at Halloween. I don't understand. It's not a Halloween movie
But
per
it's one
se.
of those staples to the genre.
That's what I'm saying.
like Halloween.
Right.
There are two on this list classics that are on this list. One that I came to early because I mentioned it last week. House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah.
I've watched it every year since my mom introduced it to me.
Yes.
So that's a staple. I could probably quote that entire movie.
Yeah,
at
I'm
you.
with you.
It was a little bit more recently that I finally watched it, but the original The Haunting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
based on the Shirley Jackson novel.
I love that one so very much.
Yes, we just got it on Blu-ray, and it's gorgeous.
Oh, I bet it is.
If you think black and white movies don't benefit from high def,
Oh, yeah, they
you're
do.
wrong.
Oh, yes, they do.
Because they can take all that grit and stuff out too. It just
Yeah. Well, I mean, they still retain a little bit of the film grain in it, but
Right.
like that movie in particular has all those like insane like wall patterns
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
and like all that paranoid atmosphere as like the camera like zooms and then pans and like stops dead and everything. It really, it just sucks you in that much more.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned ones that have like the old movies playing on the TV while the movie's going on.
Yeah.
Another one that you see a lot around this time is George Romero's Night of the Living Dead.
Yes, we have definitely that has definitely been on our list before.
Yep. It was almost on it this year, and then we tweaked it because
Yeah.
we thought like a salute to Romero since he passed this past year would probably be would be in order. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had already mentioned Lost Boys. Lost
Oh,
Boys is
love
on
the
there.
Lost Boys.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's on there.
I mean, and that one's it's supposed to be taking place in summer, but
It's like end of summer, though. I mean, it's very... You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot of Twilight in it. Not to be mistaken with a book series that.
I was just gonna
No,
say
no.
you almost
No, no,
you missed
no.
that look I was giving you because I was like, you said Twilight.
other
I
type
saw
of-
the look
there's
you were
more.
giving.
There's more than just sparkly vampires when you
Yeah.
say the word
Okay,
Twilight.
okay.
There's
Yeah.
a time of
Right.
day.
Yes,
Right.
it's Twilight.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, but that one's just fun. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's classic monster movie that was tweaked for the era it came out in.
Yeah.
And
And it's done very, very well.
it is. I hate what Joel Schumacher did to Batman movies, but that one was pretty solid.
Right?
Yeah. I could think of another staple for Halloween being. I had it when you were talking, making that last comment.
Should I just keep talking?
Yeah,
I'm just going to rattle off some things right now, and it's going to come to you.
Now you were talking about the change from modernizing for the 80s,
Right,
the vampire
right.
film, and it made me think of something, and I lost it as soon as I got it.
Bram
I
Stoker's
need my
Dracula.
Fly eyes again. I don't remember. On with the show.
Moving on.
Okay. You were going to say Nicolas Cage's Vampire Kiss, weren't you?
No.
Very cagey. Very cagey.
It's amazing.
Have you seen it, Mike?
No.
I have.
I've got it on Blu-ray.
Really cagey?
It's very cagey.
It's the cagiest of them all.
It may be.
It's up there.
It's
I would have a hard time. Like, Bad Lieutenant Port of Call, New Orleans is probably a close second, but
Yeah.
it's edged out.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
a very cagey.
All right. So, kind of cliche, but Stephen King always ends up on the list.
Definitely.
Somewhere.
So, some years it's Shining. We were thinking about The Mist because we just finally picked it back up.
That's a
but we
great
got
movie.
1408 right here.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Gotta have
Because-
1408.
Because 1408 is just a fun house.
Yeah.
With fun house type of experience.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
different scares all over the place
Right.
and like paranoid atmosphere going on.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, haunted house flicks are her jam.
I enjoy them. I think it's because of the way they get me. Like, growing up with a house. So
With a history.
Yeah, with a history. My parents' house, what was originally my grandmother's house, but it was moved to where it is in 1900. Pretty sure it was built around 1870. It was originally a small shotgun house and is now a much larger house. But it has reports through the years of paranormal
Activity.
dark spots and heaviness areas, like
We must
stair
investigate.
activity, footsteps, all that stuff.
We must investigate.
Right? It's creepy though. I have a really hard time doing it because I have to sleep in one of those bedrooms. So
Well, the other bedroom, y'all,
it's moved, Paul.
is it?
The spot. Okay, so there's this.
Oh, it's the
spot-
Winchester house then.
So there's this spot that has always been. It's darker in this one spot. It's always been darker. No matter how much light you have in the room, it is darker in this one corner of the room. And at night, it has this feeling of dread that comes with it. And there's never anything that comes out of the spot, but it does influence people's minds. And people tend to be more depressed in living in that room. They tend to have more issues with self-harm, that kind of thing. Anyway, so it's interesting.
Your super religious parents have
Well,
not
they've had
exercised the house.
They've had
I'm just saying, I'm waiting for that one to kick in.
we're
Did they not
Baptist,
bless it?
and so like they did it personally, but because of the stigma attached with it, my parents can't seek help from other people because my dad was a leader in that religious community. So
And to do that would be to acknowledge other things.
right? And so like they had the pastor come and bless the house.
That's not going to work.
And it doesn't do anything. So
If he doesn't truly believe it, then it's not.
oh no, he
going to
believes
work.
in it. He was witness to he tells a story about how he was witness to a demon possession, that he was part of the group that prayed at his feet and exorcised the demon. He doesn't like to talk about it because it was a very deep experience for him. But yeah, so it's something my parents do truly believe in. but it is not something they want to be perceived to believe in, because it is still a part of that faith that no one likes to acknowledge.
You know, it's really funny because you're telling the story, and the first thing that pops into my head is those televangelists are on TV.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna exorcise the demons. Is what came into my brain.
Some handstand. Yeah, no.
I don't know. For me, I just envisioned all these really fit demons in hell because they're all exercised.
Right?
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, all of them.
I
Because
wonder
they're
what
just fit.
I wonder what an exorcise bike would look like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's stick one in the corner and see what happens.
Right?
Put a giant hamster wheel in that corner. If it starts moving, we need to investigate.
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
On the Funhouse spectrum, we also have Cabin in the Woods.
No, love that one.
Yes. We really enjoy it.
I was good with that film until they showed the guys in the underground part.
I was
Like,
happy about
45
that.
minutes in, I'm like, oh man, really?
I was like, when's Pandora's box gonna come out? When's everybody gonna get loose?
Right?
And he's like, they're not. They're little boxes. They're not. I'm like, no. Somebody's gonna push a big red button, and everybody's gonna come out and die.
Now, I did appreciate how they set the cabin up. It's like, okay, we're gonna throw the book in the basement, see if they read it. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that.
So, in relation to your complaint about the Evil Dead remake, I love one of the. If you listen to the commentary to Cabin in the Woods, it was directed by. It was co-written by Joss Whedon and somebody else who works with all the time. And it's who ended up directing it. And he was saying that he was uncertain about taking the directing job up until he got to the point where all the special effects artists were coming up to him, and they were showing him like footage of all that. Whenever whenever shit comes loose and you've got all those monsters and creatures or whatever, and like somebody came up and there's like, oh, we've got the tree here for it, and he's like looking at it and he's like, oh, that's a little too fierce. Okay, listen, this isn't a rapey tree. This is a molesting tree. So can we get that scale back a little bit? And then like the visual effects artist looked at him for like a split second and said, right, molesting tree. Okay, we're on it.
Because there's difference.
That's funny. No, it's a pretty decent film. I would have directed it a little bit different.
I loved it, especially the part with the unicorn. I was like, watch, it's gonna stab him. It's gonna stab him. Yes! 10 points!
Okay, what else?
Just so much fun.
All right, so let's have a sidetrack for that, because it got to the middle of the movie whenever they're in the basement and they have all those funhouse artifacts, which would dictate what would open.
Right.
Let me guess. Mike would have chosen that puzzle ball.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Oh yeah. Give me that sphere. Woo-hoo, look at that.
If he would have picked it out, my butt would have been out the door.
No, she would have been like, ooh, ancient book. What's that?
Yeah, ancient book.
I wouldn't have been stupid enough to raid from it, but Jesus.
To raid from it?
No. I'm tired.
Yeah.
She
right?
worked
When you get
into
tired.
deep south.
That's the thing.
I'd be raiding on that.
Honestly, I think that's one of my favorite moments in the entire movie. Is it kind of addresses that everybody watching the movie is going to get a little disappointed if they're like looking at any of the other objects, and it gets to Bradley Whitford or whatever, because he's like, I'm never gonna get to see a freaking merman. He's like, he said he had the shell in his hand.
It almost seems like that was almost an answer to the Scream series,
Pretty much.
because Scream was all about the rules of the horror film.
Yes.
And this was the flip side of the how do we get the creatures from the horror films.
Yes, and made it all tied together in a very Lovecraftian sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I love that it offers a backstory that basically legitimizes every horror movie you've ever seen as being almost the same world.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Moving on.
moving on.
What?
You're the one that wanted it on the list.
Which one? Oh, okay. So y'all haven't seen this one. I really love it.
We nearly showed this as a watch and review.
It's called The Sentinel.
I remember that discussion.
Yeah.
We're all like, the Sentinel? Are we watching the Sentinel? No, we changed our mind.
Watch the devil, baby.
Yeah.
Hell, baby.
Hell, baby.
How did we lose that coin toss?
Hell, baby was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
She-
totally funny.
So, to describe the Sentinel, very Catholic. Very Catholic, very 70s. It is a model moves into a rent-controlled New York apartment building, and there is a blind priest that's always staring out of the window, the top floor, kind of mysteriously. The building is owned by a monastery?
The
Diocese. The Catholic diocese. Okay. So, yeah.
I have a whole issue with that.
It's
The movie
feel the anger with it. So
the movie starts kind of crazy, and then it just gets batshit insane by the end of it.
the first 3/4 of it is her interacting in this new apartment. Most of it does not make sense.
Burgess Meredith is in it as one of her neighbors.
Okay.
He is great.
Crazy. He's wonderful. But
He randomly keeps coming into her apartment, Burgess Meredith with his great voice.
Right.
And he's just like,
Cat Windrock.
he's like, you gotta,
Knock over your bike.
apparently.
Seriously.
It's like, no, you have to come upstairs. We're all having a get together upstairs.
Right.
And
It must be a crazy movie. Paul's getting animated over
I
here.
know,
I
right?
love Burgess
It's
Meredith.
crazy.
She comes
Very
up.
good,
She comes
though.
up to his apartment midway through, and what she's been invited to is a birthday party for his cat that the entire building is attending.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Maybe we
He
do
got
need to watch
Beverly,
this one.
got Beverly
Right.
D'Angelo as a French lesbian lover to some
The diocese?
socialite that
Yeah.
you got going on.
Yeah.
It is very, very Catholic centric.
Maybe we'll
It's
have to do this one on our next watch and review we do.
It's really good. One of my favorites. So it's on the list.
Okay.
Let's see. One of Paul's favorites that ends up pretty often on the list is Evil Dead 2. Because he loves it.
No, I can tell by the groovy shirt he's wearing.
Yep.
Yep.
Groovy, baby.
I've got a shotgun crossed with a chainsaw that says groovy on it right now.
Yes.
Yes. It's wonderful.
Still need to watch season 2 of Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I still gotta finish watching the first season.
Give me some sugar, baby.
No.
Yeah, my personal feeling on that, that one ended up on the list because we were talking about what made a Halloween movie, and she said the fall atmosphere and everything. She actually invoked Evil Dead because she was talking about the fall leaves and everything that got going on around the cabin and everything in the movie. In general, I've always loved that movie. When I finally watched it, so. Growing up in the age of video rental stores and not being allowed to watch horror movies until of my own volition watch horror movies from the video store until I was 10 or 11. I would just see the covers and the posters because the posters were all over the walls.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like horror was huge for video rental.
Oh, yeah.
And they were always trying to outshock each other on some of those on some of those posters, and I don't know why, but Evil Dead 2's cover always bothered me as a kid. If you remember, it's a skull looking sideways glance with bloodshot eyes coming out of the sockets.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I had no idea what that movie was because I never picked it up to look at the back cover because I was like, all right.
Good.
But then I watched Army of Darkness almost as soon as it came to video. Loved that movie.
Number 3.
Yes, to hell and back, and I never knew that it was an Evil Dead sequel until 3 years later. And then it still took me a few months after learning that fact to go.
Did you look at the poster there, Heather?
Alright.
I did.
It's a great poster.
It is. I couldn't remember exactly what it looked like, so I had to pull it up. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Army
that
of
one.
Darkness is totally a like the He-Man pose.
Yeah.
I could
With the
totally
chainsaw
see.
up
I could
and-
totally see why Paul would pick that one based on the poster.
Well, my cousin was the one that recommended it to me, and that one's just fun. I mean,
Right.
you can so tell it's from the same production team that
Yeah.
did Hercules and Xena in
See?
the same time
That's what I
period.
mean. No.
You're good, Ash. I'm evil, Ash.
You're goody little two shoes.
I love that movie. All right. Couple more, and we gotta.
Yep.
Wrap things up
that's
before-
our list.
No,
Oh, that's the
we-
list?
We missed one.
Oh, one.
2, actually.
Oh,
What?
3. Just 3.
Just three.
So, we normally do a John Carpenter,
Okay.
and we normally do Halloween. But
Right.
Paul decided to mix it up this year.
Okay.
And we are going to do The Thing.
Oh, I love the thing.
Yes. This is very, very good.
we didn't have any creature flicks on here.
Well, yeah.
So,
And Rob Bottin, his makeup still stands with that film. I mean, even when they did the
It
prequel,
it has to be good. It's a remake you like.
that's because that one, the original was what, early 50s,
Doors.
and it was just all lots of doors, opening doors,
closing, opening, closing doors.
and it was
Have you not seen the original
not
one?
the original.
You need
Yeah.
to.
the original is
It's
just
doors.
like it's always. Can you close that door? Opening
Okay,
doors,
close-
opening
open
doors,
that-
opening doors.
Close that door.
And of
Open that
course,
door.
eventually,
door.
behind one of those doors
It's
will be the thing.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is, in that film, of course, they didn't have the makeup effects that they did in the 80s, so it was just a guy in a costume dressed like an alien.
What is the
Yeah.
name of the short story it's based on? It's like Who Goes There or something. It's
Something
like
like that.
it's a very philosophical sounding
Yeah.
title.
And then, of course, the original film's A Thing from Outer Space.
Yes.
And then John Carpenter. About the only thing identical between the two films is the title.
Yeah, and you could tell, and John Carpenter foreshadowed that he was going to be doing that because the Thing from Outer Space is on TV at one point in Halloween.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a great film.
Yeah,
Gotta go check on those Swedes, Doc.
and even though
They're Norwegians, though.
Carpenter didn't do the score on that particular one, it still had an epic score because they've got Ennio Morricone doing the music on that one.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, a little history onto that. Carpenter thought it should have been more. And he goes, no, this worked. Doom, doom, doom. And once they put it with the footage, he goes, okay, yeah, I like that. But evidently, Carpenter thought it should have been a little more melodic and stuff like Halloween was, and he wanted a little more to it. But then when he watched it with the footage, he's like, oh no, this is perfect.
Yeah, and that one does isolation so well.
Yes.
Because you get to the end. I mean, we had that discussion. You would say you sided with McCready, but I still say I don't think he made it out of that.
No, he did. Because the sequel is a video game,
Right.
and he ends up at the end of the game. Spoiler.
But the game starts with the movie, right?
No, it starts just after the explosion. And the military sent in to see if they could find any survivors or anything like that. And they can find nobody. But then the things start showing up because they go from there over to the Norwegian camp and then into other areas where evidently other groups of government have shown up and taken the thing stuff.
Did you ever watch the prequel with Ramona Flowers?
Yes. That, I was like, where did she go between the end of that one and the beginning of John Carpenter's?
I heard it wasn't bad though.
It wasn't bad. It's a lot of CGI,
No, well, that's the era it came from.
and it still didn't really even hold up to what Bottin did.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the thing, and then
Last two are, I don't know if Paul's, okay, Silent Hill.
I love Silent Hill.
Yeah, so Silent
Pyramid
Hill is
Head.
on our list.
We know his issue from last show.
Yeah, but I like I said, I still do like the movie. It
Yeah.
has and like I said, in general, I choose Halloween movies for atmosphere, and
Right.
that has atmosphere
And it's
to
also kind of
spare.
set in fall.
It is,
Yeah, oh
Yep.
yeah. Yep.
very
So it-
ashy fall.
Ashy
Fits
fall.
well.
It's cold. They have coats on.
It's true. But at least they have a fire to keep them warm.
Right.
It's just under the
Under
town.
the ground.
Yeah.
We said it already.
Oh, did we say it already?
Which
Well,
one?
No, you said House of Haunted Hill.
We said the haunting.
The haunting.
And he said
yeah,
the
because
haunting.
we were talking about
Okay.
it
Yeah.
being
Well, then that's it.
Blu-ray
Okay.
or
Okay.
HD or
Huh?
something
Right.
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
walls.
That's right. Hang it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And,
I'm really good
and
at
I'm,
keeping track.
and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't have, per se, a list that they go to. They pretty much leave it to the TV stations to dictate what their Halloween movies are.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like on Sci-Fi Channel or Chiller
Don't
Channel.
let
Or
them dictate you.
yeah.
But
You know,
if
it's
you were
like-
ever going to watch a TV marathon of movies, don't ever watch Friday the 13th in reverse order.
Well,
It'll
'cause, like,
throw
you
you
got-
bad.
Because like last year you had your surgery, so you were stuck at home,
I
and it
was.
was just like marathon after marathon after
It
marathon.
was.
It was just like I don't have to worry about getting up to change it.
that's another
Friday the 13th is also going to be watched.
Yes.
It was on the list, but I just said we're just watching it anyways because
Right.
she's yet to watch any of them.
Well, you know why?
Don't watch them in reverse order, though.
No.
Or maybe you
But-
should. Maybe you'd be like, what? What is this? And you get
But-
to the first one and you're like, oh.
The plus side to that is this month October has a Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I know, I'm so excited.
so we've got that and Halloween all in one month. Hells yeah.
You know, I'm kind of surprised that nobody had this on their list.
Hmm.
The Twilight Zone.
Oh, I was like, don't stop at Twilight because I ain't going there.
Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2.
No, not that. Not that. No, I'm sorry.
It was
but
so
I am,
scary whenever that werewolf marked that kid for his bride.
Right?
I am sorry, but I am not
You
a
imprinted on her?
Twilighter. I have never been a Twilighter. I will never be a Twilighter. Vampires do not sparkle. They rip your throats out. I'm sorry.
They can do
Yeah, but they're
both.
different in the
No.
book.
It's
It's
Studio
different in the
54
book.
Vampire.
You gotta read the books.
But nobody
Oh,
had
yeah.
that
She
on
just
their
depended
list.
on-
Nobody watched.
Well, I mean, they're
the
not
Twilight
awesome
Zone.
either.
Because that's on the list too.
Oh,
Watch that
no,
one.
you
But
had
it-
to
young
play
adult
baseball.
Right.
It's young.
During a lightning
young
storm.
adult.
YouTube is
It's
not going to catch
a-
any of this.
Right, and
No.
it is infinitely better than the movies.
Yes,
What?
the books
The
for
books
Twilight.
for
No.
Twilight.
But it's a young adult novel.
It
So it
definitely
is a
is.
tween book.
Which
Yeah.
is isn't that how we ended up with 50 Shades?
No,
No,
No.
50
no.
Shades is not even a tween book. That
No.
is a...
No, I mean,
No,
wasn't it
it-
because of Twilight?
It was originally fan fiction
For
Yes.
Twilight,
Yes.
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 Yes, it was.
Which is how we got
They
it.
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
name replaced and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it can be considering what the plot is, but okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I'm
can
with them on that
see
one.
it,
Of course, when you think of 50 Shades of Grey and you hear the main character's name, I always end up thinking of Dreamcatcher.
Really, because I think of Clue.
Because
I-
you know what I'm
I
talking about
I
in
think
Dreamcatcher.
of the movie Secretary with James Spader.
Yep.
But with a lot less romance or plot.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think of...
For those of you who have seen that movie, you'll completely understand it.
but no, Donnie Wahlberg's character in Dreamcatcher is always talking about Mr. Gray. Mr. Gay. Yeah.
Up Mint the Gay.
Yeah.
We got more work today.
Yeah. So every time I heard Mr. Gray, and I'm like, what? Dreamcatcher in here?
Now, my favorite meme of that was somebody had marked all the pages where all the sexual content was, and they posted a picture of look how much sex is in this book, and I was like, "Yep, steady up, boys."
We have to redact all this. There's like 4 words left in this book.
I worked in an office with
Mr. Gray.
Like my boss, my boss is a man, but everybody else in the office was a woman at the time that book came out.
Yep.
Oh Lord.
and at the time, all older than him.
Yep.
Oh, you
All right.
poor baby.
So yeah, I got into weird conversations about that book.
Okay.
Yep.
I can just see
Poor
a couple of them with you in those. I could just see you. You're the color of Katie's hair, talking to
Yeah.
a few of those ladies about the 50 Shades.
No, I was just taking mental notes of like every possible way that I'm like, how is that not a story about abuse?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how is that not a story about abuse?
It is. Anyway, all right, there we go. Halloween lists.
Halloween abuse.
Halloween abuse.
Do not abuse the Halloween.
Yes.
It will get taken
Or
away.
we'll release Sam on you.
See, and I think I think we're the only ones I've ever seen that has the support Halloween sticker on our car.
I love We got this magnet at
Spirit Halloween store.
Spirit Halloween store several years ago, and it says support Halloween. And
It's like the ribbon for breast cancer or whatever.
Yeah.
It's got a jack-o'-lantern on the top of it. Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
And we kept it on for the longest time until the oranges all faded out and it's cracked. And we finally found the replacement for it. And it's like when we peeled off the old one, it literally had a dust mark of where it was. And I was like, okay, it's supposed to go there.
Yeah. So there we go. Lists for Halloween. If you have a favorite Halloween movie, let us know what it is. We want to know.
Share.
Right over on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram.
Maybe we haven't even heard of it.
We may not have.
Why are you keeping it to yourself?
We
You're
want to see it.
selfish.
Yes, don't be selfish. Let us know.
Right? You know, if you
Add
stay
to our
and-
list.
together, you
And
stay
you know,
together.
If you think you're going to confuse us with the title,
No.
just Instagram a picture with it. Just
I mean,
hold
if-
it up
if
and take a
it's
picture.
If it's in another language, translate it for us.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Yeah,
send
but
us a picture of
sometimes
the
that doesn't
of the
work
cover.
well.
Yeah,
I mean,
picture
I
of the cover.
liked the Let the Right One In and the Ring and all that. And sometimes when you go back and watch the originals and you try and translate it in English, it kind of falls to the wayside. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, wow, that look was just like, wow. Okay.
I love both of those movies, both of the original language versions of those. So.
I do too.
Yeah.
It was a little slow though. Don't let the right one in.
Yeah.
Or Let the Right One In.
Let the right one in. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there was. See, the
first-
Swedish
It's
version.
Moody.
Swedish version was a little bit long.
Yeah, the Swedish version was "Let the Right One In," and then
Let Me In.
"Let Me In" was the
Yeah.
American version. Yeah,
Which
I heard was not near as good.
No.
it's actually not bad. The problem is the problem with the translation on that was Let the Right One In has a very unsettling kind of up in the air ending to let the audience make their own choice.
Right.
Yeah.
The American
Has a
version
very-
does not.
It has a very
It's like, this is what
This
you're
is
supposed
it.
to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Smacks you on the back of the head.
Yep.
So,
Damn. I don't think I want to watch it.
but in order
And it does
to
it while
continue to
quoting
get it,
candy commercial.
but in order to get our shows
We're
on
gonna
a
have-
weekly basis,
Where do they have to go?
you just go on over to iTunes,
Really?
Google Play,
What if I hate Apple?
Google Play.
Oh, right.
I like Google
What if
Play.
I don't like Google?
you got Spreaker.
Oh,
iHeartRadio. Can you do anything with that?
I could probably do some of that. Yes.
Oh,
If you
okay.
hardcore, you have to go to Heart Radio.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I Heart Radio.
And if you,
I don't trust any of that. I only get on the YouTubes. What do you got for me?
Hey, head on over to YouTube. Fear Central Net is your keyword
and if you
there.
want some fun, turn on the subtitles.
That's right, definitely, because nothing says automatic subtitles can screw everything up
Yes,
like it
it
does
can.
with this show.
And you can also reach us on the Twitter and the Facebooky
Mm-hmm.
and
Get on that Book of Faces, look up Fear Central. There we are. Boop.
Or you can just go to the website
there
Yeah.
you go.
and pull it up
fearcentral.net.
right there. You don't have to worry about any of those platforms.
Yeah.
FearCentral.net.
You don't have to deal with any political posts. You don't have
Right.
to look at anybody's picture of their brunch.
No.
Nope. Great thing is, we got some more stuff in the works coming
we
up,
do.
hopefully very soon,
Dun, dun,
which will
dun.
also give you a chance to participate in your own way with the show.
Be one
We
of
will
us.
tell more about
Be one of
that as we get closer to it. And then we will also be bringing you more and more about our live broadcast Halloween party coming up later in October.
Yes.
So we got a lot of stuff for y'all coming up throughout this month, and I don't know if there's anything else left to say. I mean, that's a
You know
lot.
what? I got one. Let's do this. The person who tags the most horror movies, and it has to be multiple times, single movies, gets to come to the party. What y'all think?
I'm not sure I want extra people that I don't know in my house. I mean,
Okay, how about being on a show?
You get a shout out.
I barely
really
let
know
you
anybody?
guys being in my house.
Okay, I got it better. We'll Skype you into the show.
Okay, Skype is better.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll Skype,
Skype
you
or phone call or something,
Yeah.
something.
Phone a friend.
Phone a friend.
in. I'm not gonna
Fastest fingers.
Ask the audience.
Yeah. So,
Half
anyway,
and half.
Mr. Gear.
but there is one final thing that is left to say.
Stay scared.
Fear Central is a product of Thoughtbox Studios. Copyright 2017. For more information, visit thoughtboxstudios.com.